Good evening. It's Jules Wyman here, who has extremely static hair, which is attacking my face at the moment. So apologies for the hair fiddling at the beginning of this evening's confidence conversation. Jules Wyman, as I say, here from juleswyman.com. How are you doing? I can see that people are joining already live on the dot. So you wonderful eager beavers that are already here, do drop down and say hi. If I haven't met you before and I don't know where you are in the world, then you can also share where you are in the world as well. But who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first to say hi and let me know where you are joining us from? Hey, Alyssa, very close, not far away, just a few miles away from where I am here in York. Good evening and welcome. I sound very official then, don't I? It's like some TV presenter. This evening's confidence conversation. Sharon, how can you say sorry for being late? We've only just started. Good evening to you. Hi, Laura, and good evening to Shelley as well. Thank you for the love heart as well, Shelley. So this evening's confidence conversation, I cannot believe it, is the last one of this year of 2017. Not quite sure where the year has gone. It's been an interesting one, to say the least. So if you're joining us for the first time, let me give you a little bit of a brief overview, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on the recording, just as these gorgeous ladies, and I'm sure that there are gorgeous gentlemen who are watching as well. It's just I happen to know that there are 4 wonderful ladies on here at this moment in time. Feel free to say hello when you join. You don't have to join in the conversation any further than that, but it is always nice to at least give you a shout out and check in with you. As you can tell, by the way, I've got a little bit of the leftover of a bit of a cold, so I apologise if I sound a bit stuffy or even need to evacuate, as it were, at any point during the session today. So the cold is kind of sending my head all over the place a little bit as well, so I do apologise if I'm not as 100% focused as I usually am. And it has been a bit of a challenging year, last week, rather, for myself. So, good evening, Caroline, as well. And I love the way that Sharon's greeting everybody. How wonderful is that? The way that these conversations work is that I bring a topic to the table. This evening's is all about receiving, and obviously, with it being Christmas, a lot of people celebrate by giving presents, and a lot of people celebrate various other kind of, whether it be Hanukkah or other celebrations at this time of year, where there can also be exchange of gifts as well. And I got into an interesting conversation with somebody about that, which is where this evening's topic has come from. And what my invitation is that I bring a topic to the table, as it were, and offer you my thoughts on it, offer you my viewpoint, my experience as a coach. If you've not come across my work before, I'm a confidence coach based in York in the UK, and I work with clients around the world. Due to modern technology, being able to Skype and phone and all sorts of things very clearly, which is fantastic. So although I do focus on the topic of confidence, there are a lot of different aspects around that, be that self-worth, self-esteem, self-belief, that all intertwine with that. So that's where these topics kind of spill out from, and they come out from the conversations that I've had either with clients. Sometimes you wonderful people message me with your questions and your thoughts and your queries, which is fantastic as well, and that inspires things. So as I go through this evening's topic, feel free, if it's making sense for you or it resonates, then show some love by doing some thumbs up or even doing some hearts. And in fact, feel free to practice right now. You don't have to just hit it once. You can go mad if you want to, as I'm pretty sure if Alyssa is by her phone at this moment in time, will demonstrate, because she is the queen of hitting those likes and hearts at some point. If, however, there they go, coming in, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. If at any point I'm sharing something and it doesn't make sense, which is absolutely possible, Just as I would like to, hi Nicola, just as I would like to, if we were doing a workshop in person, what I do with people is I do check in as to whether things are making sense or not. And if they're not making sense, obviously people in person can, actually I'm not sure about that, or I don't get what you're saying there. So I can give them clarification because I'm only explaining it in one way and in one direction. If it's not making sense for you, rather than do a sad face or an angry face or some other emoji across, can you let me know on here? Please don't message me or email me and expect me to answer during this, because I can just about stay focused on doing a live broadcast at this moment in time. But feel free to, don't wait to be invited to either say hi, as wonderful people have been as they're coming in, and don't feel, if something is making sense, or if it resonates, or if you're not sure, feel free. Please don't wait for the permission. Just jump straight in and type in your thoughts as I go through. So, are you ready to receive? That is the question. Because, as I said, this stemmed out of a conversation I had with a client who said how much they love this time of year because they can go out and they can buy presents for people and make presents for people, and they just love give. Now, I've worked with this client for quite some time, so I know her personality. I know some of the things that she does, and I happen to say to you, I've just spotted what you've put down. Actually, it isn't. It's a cup of tea. I will have honey and lemon later on. Thank you for taking care of me. So I know that one of her challenges has been that she says yes to a lot of things, and she very rarely asks for help or even takes help when it's offered. And so this conversation kind of sparked out around that she's somebody who just keeps giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. Now, the saying is it's give and take, and that's what we need, is those two things. It's a give and take, it's a balance, and we need to be able to do both of those things for ourselves as well as for other people. And yet if we are not being open to that, then we're not going to be given those things, even if they are there. So say, for example, I've had this conversation with so many people about compliments, and people say, I never get compliments. And I ask them, just for a week, just for 7 days, actively listen. Don't try and get compliments, but actively listen to your work colleagues or your family members or your friends. Actively listen to what they're saying, because I can pretty much guarantee that they will get at least one, if not somewhere between 1 and 10 that week. And I've done this with a number of people, and it's always the same. And what I remember, one lady in tears said that what she realised is that she hadn't been listening for them. So because she hadn't been listening for them, she hadn't heard them, but they were there. They were being offered. And I've, on more than one occasion, my coach, as those of you who watch regularly will know that I have my own coach as well. And he will quite often say a compliment to me. It's different now. But I remember where he will say a compliment and he will pause and say, Jules, did you hear me? Did you hear that compliment? I was giving you a compliment. Now, quite often when somebody gives it, I've got a video on YouTube, I can't remember the title of it now, but I did this whole thing when I was in Britain's Next Top Coach I did a speech about compliments and how often people give them, but then we rebuff them. And I see compliments like balloons. So somebody's taken the time to go away and blow up a balloon for you and do that difficult knot tying thing and come over and give it to you. And yet if you don't take it, if you rebuff it by, if they come over and say, you look amazing in that dress today, and you go, oh God, what this old thing, there's that balloon gone. Or we do that thing of going, oh, well, you look really fantastic as well, and boom, there's that balloon gone again. or we just don't even hear it and we might talk over them or ignore them or whatever it may be, get distracted, change the topic. And if we did that with a physical gift that somebody was giving us, can you imagine the response that we would get? Imagine their reaction if we pushed it back. And that's actually energetically what we're doing. If we're not receiving that feedback, if we're not receiving those compliments, that acknowledgement, that recognition, then actually the other person kind of, they might keep going. They might go, okay, well, I'm going to give it another go and have another balloon and have another balloon. And I know so many husbands and partners, specifically male partners of females, that he'll be like, I'm fed up with telling her how lovely she looks, or I'm fed up with telling her how much I love her, because she's just not listening. I've told her over and over and over again. And I think it's so important to be open to hearing that and being ready to receive it. And I know for a lot of people it's really uncomfortable. So we can practice that art by simply saying thank you. When somebody gives us, whether it's a physical gift or it might be a verbal gift of gratitude or appreciation or acknowledgement or recognition, that by being open and taking it, even if we don't hold on to it forever, but at least acknowledging that other person, we're doing something for them by receiving that gift. Is this, give me some thumbs if this is making sense, or some hearts. I can see that there are some comments coming in. Oh, hello Jade, how lovely to have you here. Yeah, or we easily dismiss them feeling unworthy. Absolutely, that's kind of the key with it. If we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't believe in our own self-worth, then why would I accept a compliment of somebody else? Why would I receive that gift with gratitude? You know, I know that one of my, especially with physical gifts, for those of you who watch The Big Bang Theory, you'll get this reference, and those of you who don't, I will explain. But I can understand Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory, that he couldn't stand Christmas or gift giving, because to him it was a little bit like, oh, now I've got to give the equivalent back. And for me, it wasn't just I had to give the equivalent back. It would be, say for example, if somebody came round to my house and they bought a bottle of wine, and the next time I went round to their house, I would take a bottle of wine and a box of chocolates or flowers or something. I would always have to do more, because I would feel like I have to do more. Or the moment their bottle of wine have arrived at my house, I would have to open it. And I really struggled. And I agree with you, Jade. It's because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have self-worth. And if you're somebody who struggles with self-worth, then 2 weeks ago, the confidence conversation was all about self-worth. So go back and watch that video. And Jade has also put, with a typo, I love the fact that you've corrected that. Love this convo. We've had this topic many times in the past. Love this convo. We've had this topic many times in the past. And thanks to our past friendship and talks, I finally accept them. Thank you. That's really cool, Jade. That's lovely to know. Thank you very much for that. And I got that Congo was convo. So at this time of year, I think that people... Oh, Shelley's just said, I've learnt to accept compliments graciously. I think it's wonderful to receive compliments. I also enjoy giving compliments. Lovely to make people smile. Yeah, and there is this recognition that, you know, it's, by the way, I'm not just talking about compliments here. It's an acknowledgement. It's an appreciation. And probably one of the... One of the biggest things that, apologies, I will explain. One of the biggest things that I had problems with for myself, there were 3 things that I found really tough to say. One was, I'm sorry, without then justification or blame afterwards. I'm sorry, but you did, or whatever. The other one was, I love you, without expecting it in return. And the third one was to ask for help. And this was something that I think is really important, especially, even more so at this time of year, to bring to this topic is around asking for help, because I think we can get very lost in not asking for help, especially as women. I know men that are the same as well. But I never used to ask for help. I used to have this kind of independent shield on that I had to deal with everything myself. And in the past week, I have had so many wonderful people offering support and offering me help. Because sadly, my father died just over a week ago. And he had been ill for a long time. So I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's come up. But so many people have offered help in such a beautiful variety of ways. Now, the old version of me would have rebuffed, just in the same way that I was talking about compliments. I would have rebuffed that. I would have not been open to receiving that in any way, shape or form. And I'm sat here and Jade has sent me big hugs, Shelley sent me big hugs, and I received them. And I'm sat here and I'm looking at flowers that somebody brought in, and another friend cooked me dinner and brought that over to me today, which is just so beautiful. And when I'd already got this topic to hand, thank you for all the love. As I say, I wasn't going to talk about it, but I think it's so important. And at this time of year, thank you, Vicky. I think it's so important for us because regardless of whether something like that has happened or not, I think we can get very much caught in trying to create the perfect celebration of a festive season, or running around like idiots trying to get the perfect gifts for everybody, or trying to make things in a perfect expected way. And in actual fact, I think we forget to ask for help. Now, whether that be from our partners, whether that be from our family members, whether that be from friends, and I don't necessarily mean creating a big long list and handing it over to them. You could too. But I think there is a wonderful, thank you, Caroline. There is a wonderful way of, and a simplicity, and it's such a blessing that I've learned through my own stubborn-headedness and force field of independence, that actually people want to help. And it's not that they want to change the world or change your world in that way. And it's quite often the smallest little things that they want to do. And I think it's, whether it be my goddaughter's mum, for example, with both of her children, she will encourage them. They love helping. Little kids love helping, so she will encourage them. If they want to mop the floor, then she'll let them mop the floor. And are they going to do the job, the same job as an adult? Probably not. But if that's their way of helping, or it may be that they want to, help cook dinner or carry the shopping basket, or it's finding ways to say yes to those people, to encourage that, to invite that in, is a way that's really helpful. It's helpful to you, and it's helpful for them. So it's so important to be open. It's not just about receiving those physical gifts. Believe me, that is lovely as well, as is giving those gifts, whether they be handmade, whether they cost £1 or whether they cost £1 million. It really doesn't matter. But actually allowing that help in for ourselves. There's loads of emojis going across now, which is great. But allowing that help in for ourselves in the smallest possible way, and allowing somebody to be able to do that in their way, and knowing that they're doing it in their way, and therefore it may not be perfect or your way, but by them doing that bit of help, it's kind of giving some more insight and support. So yeah, that's kind of for me. I wanted to, I suppose, because not only having had that conversation with my client earlier week before, But my office is slap bang, as you probably are aware, slap bang in the centre of York city centre of in the UK, and therefore I'm surrounded by shops, and at this time of year I'm surrounded by shoppers, and I can see how many people are buying things, and yet how often does somebody rebuff that, does not receive that? And even the image that just came into my head as well is the other thing that people don't often receive, and you may well have seen that I'm doing there's a photo picture going up every day with a gift to you from me, and one of them was a hug. Now, if you've ever met me in person, you will know that I am, and people will say that they've missed having a Jules hug, because I am a hug monster. I absolutely love giving and receiving hugs. And I know how many people really struggle with it, because most people will do the hug and then the quick pat on the back and the push away again, or it's kind of this sort of a hug. It's a step back. So for me, as long as the person is open to it, I'm not going to force them to be there if they're not. But holding that brace, I reckon 20 seconds at least is really good for the physical body as well, for both people. But are you open to receive a hug? Are you open to receive a handshake? Are you open to receive a smile off somebody in the street without making it mean anything? All of these things that we could be so open to receiving, and yet so often we block, so often we don't make that space. So that is really what I wanted to share with you this evening, because it is a time of year where there are so many people that perceive themselves as lonely. There are so many people that are in need. There are so many people that are on the other end of the scale of that with plenty and loads of love. And I'm just offering you, as my kind of closing thought for 2017, to think about how open you could now be to receiving, whether that be physical gifts, whether that be feedback, whether that be love, whether that be gratitude, appreciation, whether that be a compliment, help, support, kindness, generosity. How open do you think that you could now be to receive? So I'm just going to, I've seen that there's some comments coming up, so whilst I have a swig of my tea and read through your comments, what are your thoughts? What's your thoughts on being open to receive, and what is your takeaway from this evening's conversation? Just whilst I read through these. Thank you, Alyssa. All hugs are gratefully received. I lost my dad on Millennium Day. I can't imagine your feelings, but I've been there. So, thank you, Sharon. Yeah, I think as I say, I wasn't really. I had no plans of talking about my dad, but it's just I've been aware, because I knew that those three things, being able to say I love you without expecting it in return, being able to say I'm sorry without any justification or reasoning or blame or anything, just literally say I'm sorry, and asking for help. I know how difficult those words were for me to say and be open to whatever came the other way. And the last 8 days have shown me how much I've changed and how open I am, and that's why I wanted to offer that as an opportunity for you to have that kind of level of experience. And going back to Jade's comment earlier, that I realise that so often, so much of this is about our self-perception of worthiness. Am I good enough? I'm not worthy, I'm inadequate, I'm unlovable, no one likes me, I'm insignificant, I'm unimportant, all of those things which so many people have these background beliefs about that stop us from being truly open to receive. So if it is still a challenge for you, then that's okay. Just be aware of where you are, and that it is possible to do things differently. I'm definitely a testament to that. So I'll give you a few more minutes if anyone's got any questions or thoughts or insights that you want to share before I wrap up for the end of this year. Where has 2017 gone? I don't think it's all just about. I just saw an emoji fly across at kind of top speed there, the highest one ever, fastest one ever. Sorry. So whilst you may still be typing, I'm not sure, so I'm just going to give you some space to do that. I am going to remind you that the confidence conversations are for you and about you. So if you have a question, maybe specifically related to confidence, it may be related to goal setting, it may be related to stress, it may be related to relationships, work challenges, financial challenges, it could be related to anything at all, please feel free to message me on here, or you can email me jules@juleswyman.com and ask your question or share your thoughts, so that I always, when I do questions in the past, I do them and keep them anonymous. So you don't have to worry about your name being shared or anything like that. But please feel free, if you have a topic that you would like to be addressed in 2018 because you would like things to be different for yourself, then please do let me know and I will address that. And I think, in all honesty, I'm not sure whether the internet connection is not that particularly strong, only because I'm very aware that the numbers are up and down, and usually that's not a great signal, that there's not a great signal. So I am trusting that this is at least recorded in one piece, so that you can go back and have a watch of this all in one go. But to be open to receive means that we need to be open. We need to let ourselves be open. And there is a really simple practice that I started doing a few years ago, that it was just for me, just as a reminder. And it comes from yoga. You don't have to go into a strong yoga pose with it, and you can simply do it in the chair that you're in, or I wouldn't advise to do it whilst you're driving or on public transport. But it is literally to open your arms, you can't really see, with your palms up. And if you can, just tilt slightly backward, just so that you're opening up your heart, opening up that part of your chest. And there are various different poses in yoga that give you that posture, whether it be a laying on the floor one or whether it be a stood one. There are so many ways for you to be able to do that. And that would be my invitation to you. If you know that you are somebody who is challenged, there's loads of thumbs and hearts and things coming in. Thank you. I can't see who they're from, but thank you very much. That's something that for me, it was just it was a simple reminder. I did it for probably anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute every day for at least a month, just to remind myself to be open, even if I found it uncomfortable when someone paid me a compliment, or even if I found it a challenge to ask for help or even receive that help. No matter what it was, even receiving gifts, I had a real problem with. So whatever it may be, then make sure that it's just a simple practice that just you could use as a reminder. It's been going off a bit on the internet. I'm sorry about that, Caroline. Hopefully the recording's okay. Sharon says, I realise I need to give compliments more, feeling a little empty of support and empathy for others at the moment. And I think that giving compliments as well as receiving will be a good thing. It's really lovely, Caroline. Sharon, rather. I used to play a game with myself, which was if I was challenged with giving it to somebody that I knew, I would do it to somebody in the street, or I just go, oh, nice bag, or I love your shoes, and start off with something simple. And or even just if somebody opened the door for me, you know, thank you so much, I appreciate that. Or acknowledging what, sometimes it can be easier to start with acknowledging the things that people have done. You know, I appreciate that you did that for me, or thank you for doing this for me. So those rather than it being complimenting and acknowledging what people have done, can be an easier in with that. So I wish you all good luck with the being open to receive. I am sending you all lots of love and gratitude for being with me for the confidence conversations this year, and who knows where they will be and what we'll be doing next year. I've got a few little ideas up my sleeve that of things that I would like to be able to put into place. So watch this space, and however you choose, and whatever this time of year means to you, my invitation to you is to be open to receiving love, to receiving kindness, and taking care of you in various different ways. And I mean truly taking care of you. Vicky says, thank you for each of your inspirational chats throughout 2017. I've taken something from each one I've joined. I hope you managed to have a lovely Christmas, although it'll be a difficult one for you and your family to get through. Thinking of you. Oh, thank you, Vicky, and sending love and hugs, of course, for 2018. And who knows, Victoria, I might get to see you in person again next year. So take care of yourselves. Be open to receive, even when it is uncomfortable, and see what you can learn from that so that you can help yourself. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the festive celebrations. So take care. See you soon. Bye.